Chapter 1. She awoke. There was pressure on her arms as if they were pinned under something, and then her hands were tugged farther over her head, and she realized that they were being held. She opened her eyes, but something was wrong with her vision. Everything blurry, everything distorted, everything just wrong. What was happening to her? Was she sick? Had she been poisoned? She cast her eyes around desperately. She could make out, just behind her, a line of bedposts that slowly resolved into a single bedpost before spreading out again. Had she been drinking? No, she didn't think so. Couldn't remember having done so. She knew she shouldn't, because of the danger it would be to the child. But something was wrong. Her heart was beating wrong, fluttering too fast in her chest, and her tongue sat thick in her throat. She tried to speak, but what came out weren't words and didn't make much sense at all. Someone held something sharp and bitter beneath her nose, and she drew away in disgust. She shook her head, and for a moment things became clear. She was in a room, but it was not her room. It had a strange, earthy smell to it. The walls were rough-hewn, a kind of shack or hovel, nowhere in the town proper. The kind of place you would stumble across deep in the woods, out in the middle of nowhere. It was no place she had ever been before. Above her, clear for a moment before smearing into several versions of itself, was a wooden birdcage. But instead of holding a finch or a canary or some other lovely songbird, it was stuffed nearly full with a large chicken. It was hard to imagine how it had gotten in there. The creature could hardly move or turn, and she could tell it was alive only because of the way its head kept jerking against the bars. Below the cage, hanging from its base, was something spinning back and forth, twirling. What was it? It seemed like pieces of bone, bits and gobbets of gore, too, but no, why would it be that? She must be seeing it wrong, must be imagining things. She tried to will the cage back into focus, until something came between it and her, a distorted, broken face. Again, something was held beneath her nose, and the smell thrust like a knife deep into her brain, and some things grew clearer, and others less so. The room around her became less clear, seemed now to be shimmering with an odd, uncanny heat. The distorted face grew more distinct, though, a woman's face. The face itself severe and extreme and frowning slightly. The face was framed by a dark hood, a black expansive cloak that fell long to hide the body below it. From the collar, she could see protruding the fur of an animal, fox perhaps, or even wolf, but poorly cured and still bloody. She shook her head again. She was waking up now, starting to see things clearly. But what she was seeing was incredible. And then the cloaked woman took a step to the side and raised one hand, something glinting brightly in it. A knife. Her panic began to grow. She tried to lower her arms, but something held them still. She writhed and looked behind her, saw a pair of grimy hands with broken nails roughly grasping her wrists, as another hand bound those wrists tightly with rope. She felt the nails sink in, drawing blood. She tried to get her legs off the bed so as to stand, but they would hardly move either. She managed to raise her head enough to see there, past her swollen belly, her ankles bound tightly with rope and tied off to the post at the bed's foot. Then her arms were pulled back hard enough to make them ache painfully in the sockets. She flailed her head back and saw they had been tied to one of the posts at the top of the bed. She was trussed now, spread taut on the bed, unable to move. "Why are you doing this to me?" she asked the cloaked figure. Her voice sounded odd and foreign to her own ears, the words muddy and slow, and fear made her voice crack. But the cloaked woman did not answer her. She did not even seem to have heard. She just passed the winking